Alright gang, we're back with another Boruto chapter. Always look forward to these. So let's dive in. We've got a cover of the new Ryu, the one based on Shinki, looking pretty dapper, so that's pretty neat. So just a heads up, I'm doing a bit of a different sort of setup this time. I'm just going to kind of briefly go over what's happening and my thoughts rather than going page by page, because if you want to read it, you can read it. You don't need me to be like, oh, this happened, and then this happened. So let's see how this goes. So we start off with a flashback of how this triification of Shinki happened. So Gaara's fatally wounded, and he's sealed off Shinki and his team. I forget the other two's name. They're not going to be overly important in the story, let's be honest. And he's going to send them away. And Matsuri is the one there, and she seems happy to send them away. She was only looking for leads on Boruto. Why in the Land of Sand? Maybe they've all just gone into different lands just trying to get any sightings on Boruto, because he is very good at hiding himself, it seems. But the whole plan here seems to be that they are going to turn Gaara into a tree and make him the next Shinju. And Gaara seems okay with sacrificing himself for the future generation. It's the whole Will of Fire thing, but, with Gaara instead of a Konoha resident. So the Shinju, the Claw Grimes, sorry, they're not fully Shinju. The Claw Grimes enclose upon Gaara, and it seems like all hope is lost for him. But then Shinki managed to break his hand through the cocoon of sand that he's been enclosed in, and in return, quite ironically, encloses Gaara in a cocoon of iron sand. And the tables are effectively kind of turned in that regard. So he's now protecting Gaara instead of the other way around. But now he's broken free of the sand cocoon. It leaves him vulnerable to the Claw Grimes outside, and he immediately gets bitten. And it's interesting because now we see the whole conversion of someone into a tree. Although I guess we kind of saw that when they attacked Konoha and got those randos. But we see it with Shinki. He gets bitten, and then he gets enveloped. The creature sort of turns into a tree and envelops Shinki. And that's how that happened. But the iron sand seal remains on Gaara, and that seems to preserve his life. He's going to survive this encounter, and they can't seem to get to him inside. So he is safe, I guess. And the seal itself cannot be broken as long as Shiki lives, which he will, even when he's in the tree, because he's still alive. So Gaara's kind of safe. So we snap back to where we left off. Shikamaru and Kankuro are having a conversation, and it's all about just sharing intel. We don't have to get into finer details here. But Shikamaru does warn Kankuro to be on guard of any individuals that bear Shinki's chakra signature, because that will obviously be Ryu at this point. But curiously, Kankuro also asks Shikamaru to not tell Tamari of what has happened to Gaara and Shinki. So she doesn't know, and now he's asking her husband to keep it a secret. So I think that'll come into play at some point. But Shikamaru does agree to keep the secret. So it does hypothetically mean, as they say here, that more Shinju may appear, because all that has to happen is a Claw Grime has to consume someone, and they tend to target people who are strong and create Shinju out of those, which is a very difficult predicament to be in. It's in a way very similar to the war arc from Naruto Shippuden, where they would reanimate strong soldiers on their side from the past and use them against the allied shinobi force. So it's a repeat of that, but I guess with Shinju they're even more powerful. So it's a bit of a very difficult predicament. I think realistically, whereas the whole alliance could fight against these guys, it's only going to be the super strong who are able to do it. And also, curiously, that there is one of Koji's frogs in the Hokage office, obviously keeping track, I guess. So, guess he's keeping an eye on Shikamaru for Boruto. So we go now to the Shinju, and Ryu's getting sort of introductions, and just before they get too comfortable, Ryu just starts doing something with his iron sand, and it reaches down to something, and this next bit is hilarious. He grabs someone who's hiding in one of the cubes, and it turns out to be Code. Code was spying on them, and he's been spotted already. So I guess Code's about to take another L, because, it's Code, he only takes L's. Now, what's curious is they seem to have a cordial conversation with Code because he is essentially their creator by sort of first creating the claw grimes, and then it sort of gave them existence. So they see him as sort of like their creator, and they just have a cordial conversation at first, but Code is not in the mood for any sort of pleasant conversations. So Jura tries to instruct Code to just kill Boruto because he knows he has a grudge. That Code has a grudge against Boruto, and that they only care about Kawaki. But Code says he's only interested in the chakra fruit, which then gets Jura's interest because he's like, "Ooh, what happens if we eat the chakra fruit?" Because well done, Code. Give them more information to sort of delve on. And as if Code isn't taking enough L's already, he decides that he's getting sick of Jura telling him what to do and attacks him. And what happens? Well, immediately he sort of, his hand comes out of a claw mark on Jura, and before he can strike, Jura just does something to cut off the hand. What is Code doing? He's just a disappointment ever since the time skip. But Jura doesn't go for the kill. He just stops there and actually gives Code an offer to find and kill Boruto and all his accomplices, and they will let him have the chakra fruit. It also turns out that Code cannot regenerate his now severed hand and uses his claw marks to sort of suture the wound, so it's healed-ish, but he's missing a hand now. Well done, Code. You're lost an eye, now you've lost a hand. The Shinju that is based off Bug, I forgot his name, but he mocks Code, which probably infuriates him because Code always treated Bug like trash. And Code is furious, but he agrees to their deal and departs. He is going to target Boruto and friends and aim for that chakra fruit. Now, realistically, he needs a power-up before that, because the last time he fought Boruto, he got absolutely embarrassed. So we'll see how that goes. I don't feel much confidence in Code at the moment, but who knows? He might get a power-up. Don't see it happening. He's already had his limiters removed. What else can he have done? So then we get the reveal of Ryu's target, and to nobody's surprise, it is Gaara. And he says that, this is sort of interesting because he says he can just undo the seal on Gaara. So where is Gaara then? Is he where they left off? Did they leave him? Because he should be, well, technically he was in the sand, wasn't he? And Matsuri invaded the sand, so he's probably still there. But what can they do? Like they can't fight back against the Shinju, so they're in a difficult situation, that's for sure. So they'll probably need assistance. I don't know who will give it, but Gaara's the target. So then, in our final scene, we now go to Konoha on top of the Naruto's Hokage face, and it's Boruto having a conversation with Kawaki, and it turns out Kawaki's there just for a chat rather than attacking this time. Maybe he's learning. So he basically just wants to know why Boruto hasn't ratted him out, and he says that, it's for the stability of the village, especially with an omnipotence, that it would be just awkward to reveal that information and cause chaos. So he's happy to serve the fate of a rogue ninja just to keep everything stable. That speaks a lot about Boruto's character, I suppose. And Boruto, in the conversation with Kawaki, reveals that 2 years ago he attempted to use karma, and that was the last time he tried to use karma because it felt like he was losing himself, that Momoshiki was going to take over. And since then, he has not used karma out of fear of that happening again. But then Boruto gives his proposal to Kawaki. It's that they should team up to take out the Shinju. They should be the first priority, and that Momoshiki will come after. And if it has to come to it, that he should kill Boruto. But the only way that he can do that is by getting stronger in both cases. Because right now he's not strong enough to take down Shinju, and he's not strong enough to take down Boruto. And then we get the 2 pages we saw in like the pre-chapter release sort of teaser, where they're kind of having a conversation about how he should have unsealed Naruto and had him train him, but it's too long for that, and he was going to reveal something. And what he reveals is pretty bloody interesting, that Amado is hiding information from Kawaki, that he essentially has put limiters on Kawaki himself to lower his attack output, but also raise his defensive and regenerative purposes, essentially to make him have better survivability, so, because he knew he'd sort of be at threat by code. And obviously Kawaki holds Amado's daughter's DNA information. But what's also further revealed is that Kawaki is set up in a way that Amado can spy on this conversation through his eye. We get a close-up of Kawaki's eye, and Amado is spying on the conversation and is shocked that Boruto knows this information, because he's completely unaware that Koji has his future sight. But we end with Kawaki agreeing with Boruto's deal to take down the Shinju, and after that, they will deal with the Otsutsuki, which is himself and Boruto, because he believes that all of them just need to die, including the 2 of them. And we end with Boruto saying, you better not weigh me down, bro. And then Kawaki's back at you, jerk. And Finn. So that's the end of the chapter. So where this will go, maybe a training arc. Kawaki will obviously have to go and, it's essentially harass Amado and get him to reduce his limiters to get the power boost he requires. I don't know if Boruto will help him with that, or if he's going to go off and do his own training, because what can he do to get more powerful? He can either go through more training with Koji, or he can work on training his karma. And we know eventually he is going to train his karma, because we saw in episode 1 he uses it again. The flash forward with him facing off against Kawaki. So at some point he is going to train his karma again. Is it now, or is it in the future? We will see. But until then, I will see you on the 20th of November for the next Boruto. See you next time. Bye.